Hi everybody, Laurie Joy here, joining you from the Mojo Mama. And I want to talk to you today about your daily routine. A lot of us have a routine and it's just that. It is something that we are set in and do every day and almost on autopilot without thinking. And I came across a quote and it said, if you think adventure is dangerous, try routine. It's lethal. Now, I felt really compelled by that because there's so many things going on with the Mojo Mama right now. And I really do agree with the fact that routine, be it the wrong kind, can definitely be lethal. So I wanted to tell you a little bit of a story about myself and how I started to realize that my routine was not serving me. My son was 2 years old. And up until that point, I live in Canada. It's very cold. He was born in January. And prior to his second birthday, I was in a very simple routine. At the beginning, I was off on maternity leave and I would literally get up, take care of him, and my schedule went exactly according to his every need and whim, as it should when you're a mom. My routine would start with entertaining my son all day, making supper. Husband would come home. His day would continue and we would entertain our child. And then our son would go to bed, hopefully. And then it was zombies in front of the TV. Okay. And then that routine evolved just a little bit where I would get up, I would take my son to daycare, I would go to work. And at the time I was a full-time teacher and the bells would ring to tell me when I could eat and the bells would ring and tell me when I had to teach and the bells would ring to tell me when I could go to the bathroom. And I was regulated by routine. Now, we have good routines and bad routines. So our good routines are great. And the more good routines we have, the better. But let me ask you, is your routine right now sucking the life out of you and you don't even realize it? So, do you get up at the exact same time every day? And it's not that that's a bad thing. It's what you do after that time when you wake up and you get out of bed and you start your day. Are you eating the exact same thing for breakfast? And again, that's not so bad if it's the right thing. Are you driving the exact same way to and from work every day without the slightest bit of variance, leaving at the same time, having to get there? Are you watching TV at night? Are you mindlessly tuning out and sitting in front of the TV at night, not thinking about what is happening to you in your daily routine? So we have good routine and bad. And when we have the bad routines, the mind-numbing routines, the shit that just goes on day after day after day without changing, that is what this particular quote, like I shared at the beginning, is lethal. Now, one of the actual gentlemen who has transformed my routine in my day was Robin Sharma. Wonderful thought leader, the man who wrote The Leader Without a Title, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. He actually started, he did a blog post one day on how successful people start their day. And he calls it, he actually is writing a book about it right now, but he actually calls it his 5 a.m. club. And he started to talk about how he, living an extraordinary life, used to be a lawyer, is not anymore. He's a huge ticket item to go and see. I was able to see him one time and listen to him speak in Vegas. And he talked about how extraordinary people start their day. And I'm wondering for you, are you starting your day on an extraordinary level? Or is it the same shit every day, day after day? And if it is, I'm challenging you today to step out a little bit of that zone, a little bit of that comfort, and try to tweak what it is that you do. So we all know that the way you start your day defines your day. You know that if you start your day and it's off on the right track, it really sets you up for a disappointing day and being in a crummy mood for the whole day and maybe even into the night. If you start your day lit up, on fire, on purpose, rejuvenated, rested, and getting on your go, then you know that the rest of your day is going to be on point, if not spectacular. All right. So there are a couple of things that Robin Sharma teaches about having a 5 a.m. routine. And when I first heard him talk about 5 a.m., I was like, Robin, I was saying this to myself, not him. I was saying, Robin, this is never going to happen. I am never getting up at 5 a.m. I was a mama who had an interrupted sleep all night, right? Because of my son. He didn't sleep very well. To this day, he's 6 years old. He still doesn't sleep very well, and not through the night. And I thought, if you think I am getting up at 5 a.m. to start my day, you're smoking crack. But I thought, you know what? Let's try it. Let's just try it and see what happens. And I'm telling you that extraordinary people start their day in this way because it's an extraordinary way to begin, and it sets you up for a lot of success. So what he says is, he calls it the morning routine of legendary people. And if you want to be legendary, I suggest you try it. The first thing he says is, when you get up, is start with exercise, or he calls it movement. So a lot of us, if you get up in the morning, a lot of us will get up, go to the gym, come home, and then get our day started. Robin likes to say, get up and start doing some very physical exercise. And he talked like burpees, and he talked running, or he talked skipping, or, whatever it was to get your heart going. And he talks about it just for doing 20 minutes. His routine goes in 20-minute intervals from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. So whereas you might like to go to the gym longer, he starts with the whole process of movement, because we know that it releases endorphins, which is the feel-good drug in your brain, and it gets your body and mind and everything awake. And then he talks about doing some learning in the morning. So if you have a really good book, and I have one that I read in the morning. I'm going to read and reread this and read this and reread this again. But it's called Intentional Living by John Maxwell. And as I go through my book and I highlight almost everything that's in there, I really look forward to getting up in the morning and reading this particular book. And it's a book that is going to move me in my life. And I talk about this a lot with my moms and in my training and in my courses, that try not to just read a book for escape. And I know that's really important as a mom when we try to do that, but I really encourage you, at least once or twice a year. I try to read one book a month, but twice a year, read a book that's going to change your life. And this book does. It really sets me up and starts me thinking, am I going to be intentional with my life? Am I going to be intentional with my day? And I read 2 or 3 pages. That's it. So you think about it, if you're reading 2 or 3 pages a day, every day as part of your AM routine, it's learning and it's setting you up for more success. The next thing that Robin talks about is journaling and talking about gratitude. So last year, a lot of my mamas know that have coached with me. The very first thing I did at the end of 2014, going into 2015, I was in our local bookstore and I saw a box and it said gratitude on the top. And I was very drawn to it. I liked the colors. I was intrigued by it. And what it had inside was 52 thank you cards and a little booklet about gratitude and why it's so important, and some quotes and stuff. And it had a way for you to track how great, or the gratitude cards that you were going to send out. So once a week, every week last year, I sent out a physical thank you card to someone in my life or someone from my past that I really wanted to honor them and say, thank you for the lesson you taught me. Thank you for being a part of my life. Thank you for whatever it is that they did that I wanted to tell them and say thank you. And the responses that I got were amazing. But more importantly, the feeling that I had was, it was indescribable, really. And I had an amazing year last year. And I really think that a large part of it was because of the gratitude that I extended to those people. There wasn't a week when I was writing in my thank you card that I wasn't crying. And I was just so thankful for all of those people in my life. And I sent it out. And so Robin Sharma, maybe, in some way, shape, or form, kind of alluded to the fact that gratitude should be part of your daily basis. I know that Oprah, and she used to talk about this a lot on her show when she had it, was actually having a gratitude journal and writing maybe 2 or 3 things down every night that you are grateful for, and kind of ending your day in that beautiful way. And another thing that is part of the 5 a.m. or the a.m. routine is to meditate. And I have to tell you, to be very honest with you, I was not a meditator. I didn't meditate. I thought it was a lot of woo-woo. But the more successful people that I hung around with and taught from, or was taught from and coached from and encapsulated into my world, I all found that they actually meditated. And not only did they meditate, but they loved what was happening to their life as a result of it. And I started with Oprah Winfrey and Deepak Chopra's my very first experience with meditation was their freebie, their 21-day meditation freebie, which is actually coming up on Monday, October 31st. It starts again. So you can Google it and find it, and it comes every day to your email. And you can sit and just be quiet and just be intentional and just let your mind wander. Sometimes when you meditate, it's okay. But just to have that peace. And I think as moms, we don't have a lot of that in our lives. We are constantly thinking about what we have to do the next day. And then we are constantly rushed and worried, and our time is taken and our mind is elsewhere. And for you to be able to sit for 15 minutes in the morning and or at night and have that time just to yourself, I tell you, it's a deal breaker. It's a game changer is really what I want to say. So I want to encourage you to think about your AM routine and what it's doing for you. And if it's not working for you, not to say you have to start tomorrow getting up at 5 a.m., but I encourage my mom sometimes to just get up 15 minutes earlier. And instead of, doing 20 minutes of movement, 20 minutes of reading, 20 minutes of journaling, 20 minutes of meditating, maybe you start with 5 minutes of each, or even 1 minute of each, and just get up a little bit earlier in the quiet of your home, which we don't often get when everyone is still sleeping and you're tiptoeing around hoping nobody gets up, so that you can have those moments to yourself. And so all of these things I encourage you to try. And when you do, if you have an AM routine, I would love to hear about it in the comments, what it is that you do. If you want to try an AM routine and are going to pick something to start, you can tell me in the comments as well. And if you are stuck about how to get a routine, you never think you could do it, I'm telling you right now that I've coached a lot of mamas around their AM routine. And part of that was in the 6-week course that I taught to a number of them last year. And we're actually starting that 6-week course next week. So if you're interested, just keep your eye open, because registration in the card is going to open very soon. And all of my mamas said to me, there is no way I am getting up at 5 a.m. And I'm like, sister, I have been there. I have been there. I have literally said, if you see me up at 5 a.m., there is something seriously wrong with me, and take me to the doctor. And they all said that. But with the accountability of the group and everybody getting up and holding each other accountable, and we were putting postings and all of those things in the Facebook group when we started it, it has now become something habitual, and these women are starting their days on an amazing new level. And I know moms are tired and we're sleep deprived and all of that stuff, but if you could have those moments, just those moments in the morning where it's not chaotic and kids aren't yelling and you're trying to get people dressed and you're trying to get lunches made and you're trying to get them on the bus on time and you're trying to get them in the car on time. If you could just start your day in a beautiful way, using a wonderful routine, I'm telling you that from now until the end of this year, you could really make a difference in your mindset and in your days. The quality will go up. And so you can take these suggestions and start them very first thing tomorrow. Start with just getting up 5, 10, 15 minutes earlier, and then work your way up to maybe half an hour, maybe an hour. And maybe you do become a 5 a.m.er like the rest of us. And again, if you want to know about how to get into the 6-week course and what it all entails and what's going to be happening, it's going to start next week on November the 1st. We're really excited. I've opened it up to all the moms in my groups that are in there right now. My mastermind mamas have already been through it, but I have a free group, and all of those ladies get first dibs before it fills and closes. And so in a day or 2 at the most, I am going to share it with you here. So I'm excited to hear about your AM routine. Don't leave a mama hanging. Tell me how it goes and what you do to implement some changes in the morning. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.